Tech Zerker.
Welcome to Tech Zerker. The seed we're looking at today is for Minecraft Pocket Edition and Windows 10 Edition. I originally came across this seed a couple weeks ago, actually just doing a hardware change on my machine and wanting to test that my recording was all working, and doing a random seed, random world from the Windows 10 Edition on this machine. And it ended up actually being a pretty cool one, so I thought I'd do a video for it. A reminder, I like to do these seed previews at a slower flying or fast flying pace, as I find a lot of seed previews out there are top 10, top 20, top 50 seeds crammed into 2 or 3 minutes where you barely get to see any seed other than maybe one quick scene from each. And I don't find that really gives you time to creatively explore. Whereas here we can fly around and give you a chance while looking at the seed preview with me to plan out what you might want to build on here. And as you can see with this seed, there's some hills right off the start as we headed out from the start point. And it quickly evolves into a sand world, or at least a sand biome nearby, with a kind of cool, long, lazy river here. That's why I kind of gave it a Nile name, because it made me think of that as far as Minecraft goes, because it's a pretty cool river to wrap along through a really extensive desert. So we'll wander around here for a bit until we come across the next point of interest. In fact, I think that point of interest is just up ahead on the right down below there is the first of several temples we'll come across. I haven't loaded up a world in here itself to see what all's inside those, but there's that temple down there already. It's kind of a cool explorer map. And as we continue along the river here, you got some pretty cool hills, and just the longest winding river I've seen in a while in a seed. And you'll start to see a town that we approach ahead on the right. And as you'll tell from the description, this ended up being a seed that had several towns and several temples. So we'll take a creative flyby here towards it. As you can see, it's kind of a seaside town with a couple houses, a little church and well, and some nice gardens for food. So you could always just boot it out here in a new world to get a nice start. And then we follow the ocean along. Looks like there was an interesting little cave that descended down to the left there that we just passed over. And then we'll continue to zip along, and here is a second temple. That's different from the other one, even though it's fairly close. It just follows the river around to the other side. So there's some good exploration opportunities here before we close back in on this little forest biome. And as we continue along the river, then we start to get to kind of a nice, heavy, rocky biome there on the left, and the river continuing to laze around on the right in every which direction. There's some cool mountains we could certainly dive into there, or make a nice source for a large castle or something. And there we are again, following the river. There's one, and then a second right behind it, 2 more temples. So definitely a good exploration map if you want to find some goodies in the depths, because that's quite a few temples on one map in a relatively small area. And a little bit of surface lava over there too. This is definitely a map if you get lost a bit. Looks like you can kind of just backtrack and follow the river, because it doesn't split off in too many places, and you could probably find your way home again. And there's our next town again. This one's a little desert, seaside, riverside town, continuing along the river. A little bit smaller than the last, but again, good food source. Not a bad place to come stock up on some resources and get some free shelter early in the game. Or build a network between the towns, for that matter, because there's several of them here between towns and temples to explore and network between. And then we'll descend a little and run across the ocean a little. And we go towards some other high peaks across here as we leave that town. Again, I could see some pretty cool structures you could build up on these high peaks overlooking the landscape. And we'll climb up between them a bit here, because I always like to do a bit creative view, not just flying overhead, but get down in the scenery a little. And there we go, a nice place if you're a bridge fan. There's definitely several high hills here that you could build all sorts of networks of bridges and tunnels across, and make for some pretty cool creative exploits. And as the theme of the rest of the map, the river continues to just wind all the way through this place, almost as one long consistent river too. We'll climb down through that valley here a little bit. And back out around by the sea. And I think that brings us, back around to another temple. So this will be temple number 5 on this map so far, just hanging around the rivers. So lots of exploration opportunity here. And there our river continues. Now this is another desert biome, kind of on the other side of those mountains. So it's definitely a very desert-heavy world, if that's what you're after. Or if you want lots of glass for those stone areas, well then there you go. And here we are again. There's a third, much larger town here. It almost looks like a double town to me, because there's 3, 4, 5 gardens, I think, and church, and a bunch of other buildings kind of built into the hillside there. So no lack of towns to explore and build between. And then a nice forest right next to it as well, so you definitely can't fault this seed for the features that it has. Easy access to wood, lots of towns, lots of temples, and some pretty cool rivers and cliffs and hills to build along. I'll take one more quick descent over the forest floor here, and I think we come up on a 4th village here, which is just crazy for a map to find yet another one, and none of them small. Yep, there's a 4th village in this forest here. Plenty of gardens, a whole bunch more buildings again. So there's lots of places to retreat to here. And it borders onto a nice little swamp if you're after some mushrooms or anything. And for that matter, almost an airship-looking piece of rock up ahead of us. It's not fully detached, but it's actually kind of a neat, random little structure to go by. Just the way it generated. And as the sun starts to go down here, you see we start to come back around to some more high hills and valleys stuck between these two big deserts. So there's lots of resources here to develop with. Some nice big caves there that you could probably dive into. And that's before even considering going underground the rest of the way. And lots of opportunity on this map. As I said, I prefer this type of preview video because it gives you a chance to see the map and kind of plan out yourself if you're interested in playing around on it and see what you can build from it. So there we have it. This seed, which the seed number is down in the description as well, is for Pocket Edition and Windows 10 Edition, and it was just a few weeks ago, so it should still be good on current versions, but give it a try and let me know what you build. Thanks!